It seems like every 6 months, black people are being discriminated against because of the texture of their hair. A legal battle in Texas over a black student's hairstyle has renewed calls for a national Crown Act. The family of a black high school student who has been suspended for weeks over his locks hairstyle have sued Texas state leaders, requesting the governor to take action to protect the 17-year-old from hair discrimination. Black natural hair advocates say the legal battle has renewed focus on the history of hair discrimination in the United States and the need to pass a national Crown Act. The Crown Act and similar laws protect against race-based hair discrimination by making it illegal to deny employment and educational opportunities based on natural hair texture and protective hairstyles. The legislation, which stands for Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair, CROWN, has been championed by natural hair advocates who argue black Americans have faced discrimination in the workplace and in schools because of our hair. Although the language of each law differs across the states that draft them, Crown Act laws generally prohibit discrimination based on hairstyles that are commonly associated with a particular race or culture, including black hairstyles like locks, braids, or bantu knots. These styles are known as protective hairstyles because they help maintain the health of the hair by tucking strands to prevent additional stress and breakage, which promotes hair to grow. The styles also protect the hair from the overuse of heat from styling tools such as flat irons. Discrimination against protective hairstyles dates back to slavery, according to the lead legislative strategist and co-creator of the Crown Coalition, an organization that advocates for national legislation banning hair discrimination. She said that for many black people, hair care has become an intricate part of just our way of being, linked with family, community, and pride. You see things like bonding time between mother and child when it's wash day, or get your hair braided if you have an older sibling, she said. Those relationships around our hair care also strengthen family ties. But for centuries, black people, and especially black women, have faced discrimination because of our hair. Historically, we saw our crowns being disrespected, our hair being referred to as unsightly or woolly, she said, which it is kind of woolly. She also noted in 1786, Louisiana enacted the Tignon Law, which required black women to cover their heads in cloth. Many black women rebelled by wearing elaborate headdresses. Today, hair discrimination is more commonly seen in professional and educational dress codes, she said. Those policies frequently favor attires and styles influenced by European standards of beauty. We know that hair discrimination includes being fired, being passed over for promotions, and even having offers of employment rescinded, she said. And it's been the reason that far too many children, too many black children in particular, have missed school or had negative educational experiences. In March of 2022, the then Democratic-controlled House advanced a National Crown Act legislation, but it later stalled in the Senate. Members of the Congressional Black Caucus in December of 2022 wrote a letter to Senate leadership urging them to take action to pass the bill. The measure will have banned race-based hair discrimination in employment, public accommodations, and federally assisted programs and housing programs. Congress has yet to take up that legislation again. The Biden administration has said it strongly supports the Crown Act and looks forward to working with the Congress to enact this legislation and ensure that it is effectively implemented. The push for federal legislation has also been championed by Dove, National Urban League, Color of Change, the Western Center on Law and Poverty, and other advocacy groups. And I wonder, as I read this part of the article, how many groups did it take for them to get an Asian hate bill passed? I'm just thinking, how many federal or how many groups championed the federal legislation of Stop American Hate Crime, Stop the Asian Hate Crime Bill? How many organizations came together for that? And how long did that take to start taking effect? Just something to think about. So state efforts gain momentum when in 2018, a black student, Andre Johnson, was forced to cut his locks before he can even finish his wrestling match. They cut his hair right there so that he can continue wrestling. Or the young 8-year-old Marion Scott, who couldn't take her class pictures because she had a strand of red extensions in her hair. One strand of red extension in her hair. Or what about, let's see, the Mount Bellevue teen that couldn't walk across the stage to get his certificate, his high school diploma, unless he cut his dreads. His name was DeAndre Arnold. Well, his name is DeAndre Arnold. These are people that have been discriminated against because of their hair, and it has gotten national attention. In response to all of these, advocates began calling for legislation to protect students and others from hair discrimination. In February of 2019, New York City issued legal enforcement guidance to the city's human rights law. The provision ensures New Yorkers' right to maintain natural hair or hairstyles that are closely associated with their racial, ethnic, or cultural identities. In July, the state followed suit when then New York Governor Andrew Cuomo amended the Human Rights Law and Dignity for All Students Act to clarify both laws also protect against discrimination based on hairstyles or textures associated with race. California Governor Gavin Newsom also signed a law in July of 2019 that banned hair discrimination. It went into effect the following year. As of July of 2023, more than 20 states have enacted legislation to combat race-based discrimination against hair texture and protective hairstyles, according to the Economic Policy Institute. The latest battleground in Texas. A version of the law went into effect on September 1st and was quickly put to test when a high school student was suspended because his locks hairstyle violated the school dress code. Daryl George, a junior at Barbers Hill High School. It's just ironic that the school have to be named Barbers. Anyway, he has been suspended for more than 3 weeks because his locks hairstyle violates the Barbers Hill Independent School District dress and grooming code, according to his family. While the school district does not prohibit students from wearing locks or braids, CNN previously reported the dress code does place limitations on how long a male student's hair can be, stating hair will not extend at any time below the eyebrows or below the earlobes. Now, does this apply to the transgender women, transgender female students who are men but claim to be women or claim to be a female? I wonder. Georgia, his mother filed a federal civil rights lawsuit arguing Darrell's suspension is a violation of the state's Crown Act, which prohibits discrimination against hair texture and protective hairstyles like locks and braids that are commonly or historically associated with race. The lawsuit also alleges Texas Governor Greg Abbott and State's Attorney General Ken Paxton have failed to enforce the law. Attorneys for Barbers Hill Independent School District have also asked a court to clarify whether the newly passed Crown Act prohibits grooming policies addressing the length of a male student's hair, according to district spokesman David Bloom. The saga only underscores the need for a natural law for most advocates. Some say a child's education should not be impacted because of their hair. That should never be the case. We should never see a child missing school based on hair. Yeah, but we do. So what are you going to do about it? Let me know what y'all think below. Like, comment, subscribe. It's your girl, BeeSparrow, BuzzzTweet Talk Radio. Y'all, holla at y'all girl. Okay? Okay.